Hi, I'm Brian Henry, Chair of the Antitrust Law Section for 2019-2020. We're rolling out a new podcast, and you're watching the launch video. Our podcast is called Our Curious Amalgam, and I'm here today with the host of our new podcast, John Roberti.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, John. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Well, thanks for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about the Antitrust Law Section?
Yeah, Brian. The Antitrust Law Section is a section within the American Bar Association. We have 9,000 members who are dedicated to antitrust law, consumer protection, privacy, data protection, competition law. We had, to give you a sense, we had 3,600 members attend our spring meeting this March. A very dedicated group, and we all love the law that we practice.
That's great. So why a podcast?
We're trying to reach more and more folks. We've been delivering content to our members for years and years, and it's been great content, but this is a new way to do it. We're hoping to reach out to younger members, to international members, maybe to members who practice antitrust law and other things.
Is the podcast available only to members?
No, it's available anywhere you find a podcast. And we wanted to do that because, again, we wanted to reach as many people as possible and let them learn about this area of law that we really get excited about.
Well, you know, folks are going to ask the name. Why Our Curious Amalgam?
Well, Brian, it's really three things. Our, because it's our thing. It's the sections podcast. Curious, because we're curious. We want to get at the key questions. We want to ask them. And amalgam, because we cover more than just antitrust. We cover a whole range of areas. As I said, consumer protection, privacy, all of those issues come together, and it becomes an amalgam that we cover.
So what types of topics will be covered in podcast episodes?
It'll be a wide range of things. We're in a position to do breaking news if we need to do that. But we're also going to be doing all kinds of things. We'll do podcasts on some of the basics. We'll do podcasts where we take an issue and drill down very, very deep. And we'll also take some issues within an industry and think about how antitrust or consumer protection law affects that industry as a whole.
So how frequently will the episodes be published?
Our mandate is to publish weekly. But as I said, we're in a position to do that more frequently if events warrant. So, for example, if there's a Supreme Court decision, we're able to get a group of experts together very quickly, sit down, put together a podcast, and get that information out to our members very quickly in a way that they'll be able to easily access and understand.
So how will folks be able to see our podcast?
Again, it's going to be available anywhere where there are podcasts.
Okay. So I hear that there is a particular segment of the podcast called...
And now it's time for the Curious Hat!
The Curious Hat. What's that all about, John?
Yeah, so Brian, at the end of each episode, we want to humanize our guest a little bit. So we come up with a list of questions and a follow-up question. We ask the guest to pull a question out of the hat, and the host reads the question, and the guest gets to answer.
So do you ever answer a question?
No, Brian, I'm the host.
Well, guess what? I happen to have the Curious Hat with me today, and why don't we have you go ahead and pick out a question?
All right, Brian.
All right, John, for your Curious Hat question, if they were going to make a movie about your life, who would play you? Interesting.
Well, it would depend if it's an action film or a comedy. If it's an action film, I would say probably Vin Diesel. Comedy, Jason Alexander. He played George on Friends.
Gotcha. Second half of the question. If they were going to make a movie about your life but did not have the budget for a live action film, what animated character or Muppet would play you?
Good question, Brian. You know, I would say Kermit the Frog has a lot of versatility and he'd probably pay me, but I probably would go with Dr. Bunsen Honeydew.
Gotcha. Well, that does it for our launch video for Our Curious Amalgam. We hope that all of you become regular followers of our program and enjoy the show.